Hello everyone, welcome to Friday Live. My name is Ashley Hay. I'm an artist and also the importer of Powertex for Australia. So thank you all for watching, and please do drop me a comment and let me know you're here. So I was a little bit late getting started today, maybe a couple of minutes. But hopefully you're all here, and I look forward to noodling around with some easy 3D flex today. So I'm just basically going to have a play with 3D flex and show you what an incredible medium it is. So of course, Friday Live is all about showing you and showcasing the wonderful products from Powertex Art Supplies, and of course they are available in Australia but also around about 32 countries around the world. So very, very exciting and really great products. So I hope you enjoy today. If you're new to Powertex, then there is heaps and heaps of free content on the YouTube channel that you can watch at your leisure. So welcome, and thanks Denise for watching and being here. So first of all, I thought I'd share with you what I showed you last week. So of course last week we did some work with rusty powder, and I had a request from people to say, hey, can you show us how it turned out? So I have got that first up for you, but of course every week as well we do put a little reel up, and so many of you will probably have seen that with the results in that. So it is a bit awesome. So I'll flick down to the art table so that you can see. So this is actually how last week's rust effects turned out. So you can see it is really quite lovely. So there's a whole lot of different variations because of course we did try a lot of different things. So I'll just hold this up to the camera so that you can actually get a sense of some of that variation. So you can see that some of it is darker, some of it is more orange, some of it is more matte, some of it is more glossy. So where it is more glossy is where the Powertex transparent was actually used. So there you go. That is the rust from last week. And it was phenomenal fun. So if you haven't seen that one, please pop on and have a look. And of course, there is a video, what is rusty powder, on YouTube as well, so that you guys have a little bit more information about it. All right, so today we are using Easy 3D Flex, and it is so wonderful for creating texture in your mixed media artwork. If you have not used this medium yet, you are going to love it. So let's get cracking with a little bit. Now, what you do need to know is it is different to stone art. So I have talked about stone art previously. So you can see it is a more refined powder. And it goes more elastic, so it's almost got like a silicone base, which is a lot of fun to play with when you're creating texture for your canvas or your sculptural work. So if you are new to using this product, you are going to love it. So I've got a couple of other things that I thought that I'd show you as well. Down to my blank art table as I remove that. So this piece is actually done with Easy 3D Flex, so it's done with Easy 3D Flex and then finished with Power Wax. So next week I will be showing you how to use the Power Wax. So it's actually got Power Wax and liquid powers on this particular piece, and then there is another one here that I've done in a similar way, and so you can see that that one actually is done with the magenta, the other one is done with the blue in the liquid powers. So they are just really stunning colours. You can see how the 3D Flex has cracked in some areas. I could actually go back in and work some colour into some of those cracks if I wanted to, but that is totally up to you. So, hang on, just get this. So something to noodle around on with some 3D flex. So I thought I'd pop this one up and we can have a bit more of a play. So I'm just getting these out of the way of the water because I don't really want to get water onto those. Okie dokie. So let's go. Let's have a play and see what we can do. So the first thing that the 3D Flex is fantastic for is to create, like I say, just insane texture. So once you understand it a little bit, then you can actually play to your heart's content quite widely with it. So I will shoot down to the art table so that I can show you in a little bit more detail how I'm mixing and all of that sort of thing. Okay, so like last week, I've just got this sort of pre-made sort of, if you like, landscapey sort of board that I've done. And so I'm actually going to play onto this. And so I've got a heap of tools here. So I've got some for mixing. So these are really, really handy for mixing and fabulous. And then, of course, a couple of different palette knives. I'm just going, oh my goodness, where's my other one gone? I can see it over there. Hang on. Just grab it. Okay, so I've got a couple of different palette knives as well. So we've got that. And then the 3D Flex also is wonderful. You can use all sorts of tools for actually taking texture into it when it is added to your canvas or added to your sculptural work. So, yeah, so let's go. What we might do first is just create a little bit of a runny mix. So with a that I'll put on quite thinly. And so with this, we want to actually use one part of the, 3 parts of 3D Flex to 1 part of Powertex. And I've got my ivory Powertex here and my little cups. Never slipped me. There they are. So I'm just going to use these because these are actually really simple way of doing it. So I can measure out 3 of those. And then I'm going to pop 1 part Powertex. Into that mix. Doesn't want to come undone. And then I'm just going to pop a bit of water as well, so 1 part of water into there. And let's see what we get. So basically what the water does is it distresses the media. So it actually makes it so that it, just get the lid back onto that so I don't get it everywhere. So what it does is it actually distresses the Easy 3D Flex and it creates the crackle. So it's actually the water that activates that sort of lovely crackle effect. And you can see how really you use probably to make the clay with the 3D Flex, because of course you can make all sorts of different thicknesses with it. To make the clay, you're looking at around about 70% of the Easy 3D Flex to about 30% Powertex. Whereas what we're doing now, of course, is making that lovely little mix, which is going to give us a mini crackle effect. And I do like to take this off of here. That's why I've got multiple tools at my disposal. So we've got quite a few people popping on now. So thank you for saying hi. So hey, Narissa. So Narissa is down a Bunbury way. So she is going to be running Powertex workshops down there. And of course, Denise has the Happy Scrappy Bug in Harvey. So you can get happy and scrappy with Powertex in Denise's shop down at Harvey. So she will be is also running Powertex workshops down that way. So wonderful. And Ladybird Creative Arts, Carol is actually on. She's got some lovely workshops coming up. She's just put up like a beautiful Maasai workshop actually. I haven't made a Maasai for a while. Now, you can see this is nice and it's quite a sort of runny mix. I am going to put just a little bit more Easy 3D Flex into that, just to make it a little bit stiffer. At risk of a lovely little mix not, there we go, not crackling very well. But that water actually should distress it really, really well. So Kat's here. Kat is from Canada and is doing some beautiful work with Powertex over there in beautiful Canada. So hello, welcome. Cassie, welcome. Lovely to see you again. And remember, if you do have any questions, please ask them while we're on the live, because that's what I'm here for, is any questions that you have about Powertex or, you know, particularly with regards to, you know, what I'm showing you on any particular day, that is, would be awesome. So hoping to get like a mini crackle with this one. So what I do like to do quite often is I quite like to off layer the textures. So sometimes I'll put down like a layer where I want the mini crackle to be, and then I'll put a thicker layer on. So let's just get that, and I'll just take all of this excess off here. Got quite a big mix here, but that's okay because I can turn it into a different type of mix. So I'm just going to pop it all over that one, and then I'll see where the best crackle happens, and I might actually put a bit of thicker mix on some of that, and I'm going to pop some of the this crackle sort of in here as well. Crack on with the crackle. Yep. So you can use tools. You can also use your fingers. So if you want to just sort of manipulate it in, you can kind of take it around. I'm just going to take some of that off of there. Move that so that it's going right up to my edges here, into some of these little cracky bits that are happening. Oh, beautiful. Good fun. So you can see that's quite a sort of pretty runny mix, but because it has got the water in it, it's not super sticky. So I can actually put my fingers in it without it sort of clagging all over my hands. So the Easy 3D Flex, you do want to avoid when it is a runny mix actually, you know, getting it all over your hands, because yes, it does go, you know, pretty super sticky. Okay, so we can see what happens with that. Now, where I've got those little bits that I don't really want on there, I can just get a damp cloth and I can just wipe it off. So it's very forgiving, the Powertex, because, you know, you can just get in and just, you know, take off any excess that you don't really want on there. I don't mind it kind of coming onto some of this. My fluffy cat is getting into my artwork here, but I don't really want it on this part here. So I'm just going to work that off the edges. Are we having fun yet? Is anyone playing along? I love it when people actually have the bits and pieces and they actually play along with the live. I know many of you probably play along after. So Nicole is here. So good to see you, Nicole. So Nicole is in New South Wales, and she last week after Friday Live, she went away and had a play with rusty powder, and it is absolutely gorgeous what she did. So I will share that with you this afternoon. I'll share from her page, and then you can check out some of her other work. But of course, Nicole was on with us the other week. So if you want to learn more about her artwork, you can actually also go onto Friday Live and found the one the other week where we were talking about concertina books and, you know, all sorts of fun things. So now, like I say, I'm just pretty much noodling around today. So I'm just doing as I feel I want to add things. So I'm just adding a little bit there, and I can always you know, do another layer over the top if it doesn't work out quite how I intended. But sometimes you get really beautiful, surprising things happening when you just go with your intuition. So going with your intuition is really a good thing. And just giving yourself permission to play. So I think too often, and you've heard me say it before, too often we get bogged down in what the actual final product might look like, that we don't, you know, just give ourselves permission to try things out and noodle around like I'm noodling around today. So, and it's a lot of fun when you just let yourself play with the mark banking and with the actual product itself. So it is really good when you do have a sense of, you know, sort of what may happen, and that's where, you know, it's good to just play around. So totally filled that section in, which was not what I really anticipated I wanted, and I've got it back on here. Not that it matters that much, but just take a bit of that off so that I still have that dimension. And of course, I can also take some of the dark coloured Powertex back in once, you know, the Easy 3D Flex has done its thing as well. All right, so that was a bit of fun, noodling around on that one. And I might just take, because I can, if it looks good, stop. This was one of the things that I said to Powertex Asia when they were here. Lucy and I were having a bit of a laugh because it was like, you know, sometimes you just have to stop, and enough is enough. But I always, you know, tend to go past that point, and you know, but that's okay. That's how you discover new things. So whatever works for you and whatever point you decide to stop, you know, that is part of your creative process. And you know, part of what you sort of go on and sort of manage. Okay, so if it doesn't crack, it's not a big deal. It's actually creating a really nice texture, and sometimes you don't actually want it to crack. So we'll see how this goes. So the Easy 3D Flex, you do want to leave it to see what happens sort of overnight, and then go from there. So while I've got that little bit noodling around, I'm going to get another bit to noodle on. And I'll move this one out of the way. Okay, so this time I've actually got a cradle board. So these are super cool because you can go really hard with your mixed media on them, and they're actually wood. So this one has just got black Powertex on. So I think I'll just take a little bit of this because we've got it. And this should give me, like I say, a mini crackle effect. But if it doesn't, you can see that the contrast of the ivory Powertex on the black is actually really, really lovely. So I do like playing with that idea where you have got the black Powertex or a dark coloured Powertex, taking the ivory onto it, and then from there actually going, okay, well, you know, I can't think what I was going to say. From there, just sort of going, okay, you know, you've got that dark background, so you're actually playing with compositional elements as you go. And I'm going to use all of this mix up. We're just going to add some more 3D flex and some more to it, so that and a bit more ivory Powertex, so we get a really good thick mix that we can actually do some thick crackle with. So, and also create some nice effects with. So let's do that. Let's add in some more Easy 3D Flex. And I'm just going to put a little bit more ivory Powertex in, because remember what I said, the, oh, it's more than I wanted. It's around about, you know, to get a really good stiff mix, which is what we want this time, is it actually is around about 30% Powertex to about you know, 70% Easy 3D Flex. Okay, so that is drier than I want. I'll just mix up some of this and see how it sort of goes through. So I'll just put another little bit of this in. Don't want too much. I actually prefer this other spatula for mixing. I find it much better. So it's stiffer and just mixes a bit better. I sometimes will do this on an ice cream container lid as well, or something else that I can actually, you know, get into. Look, I'm making a mess of this. Oh, definitely don't want that much anyway. All good. It'll be fine. So if I put my hands in this now, it's going to be pretty sticky, and it's going to be really hard to get off. So if you do happen to do that, what I usually do is if I've, say, got like a whole claggy layer on my hands that I can't get off, I will actually get some 3D flex and I'll tip it onto that and, you know, get it off by turning it into a clay. I've created myself a monster now. But I have got some water here on a sponge, so I'll just give myself a quick wipe off. All right, so this is looking really nice and thick and textural, and it's got this lovely sort of stringy, see how it's really holding the body of the form that it's creating. So I can play with this in so many ways now, because it's just got that really lovely whipped feel to it. And the fantastic thing about, you know, having your Powertex separate to your Easy 3D Flex is that you can actually control how stringy, how runny, how what sort of mix you make. You can add other things into it. So you can add your stone art into it or 3D sand into it. Now, just bear in mind, if you do that, it basically means that your 3D Flex won't crackle. So I'm going to put a really nice big glob of this on here. You can't see how textured that is because it's lying flat. I will show you in just a second. So I want it to feel like it's coming right off the edge here. And so let's turn that sideways. So see how it's got that beautiful dimension. So you can really play with dimensionality. And again, if it's not crackly enough, if it's not thick enough, if it's not finished enough, whatever you feel, you can actually, you know, change it. Haven't brought my 3D balls with me. That was a mistake because they'd be quite nice to add. But see how I can lift that structure up. And that's kind of fun to do. Yeah, let's just get that and grab that. And then I just might make some of this flat. Lovely. Okay, so now we've got this very textured bit in the middle, and then we've got some flatter bits lying around here. So Karen's here, Karen Ridley. So welcome, Karen. Thanks for watching and thanks for being here. Yes, it doesn't matter that you're late. You can always watch it in replay. So we did some fun things earlier, and you know, obviously having a bit of fun with this thicker, lovely thick mix. So like I say, I'm just really noodling around. I might quite like to put some collage papers on some of here, and you know, there's other possibilities. So, oh, sticking my hand onto here. I haven't got any 3D Flex mix left, so we can just make up a little bit more. So remember, I want a lot less Powertex than I want 3D Flex. So we'll try that. And mixing with my thicker spatula. I actually find it easier mixing in something like a yogurt container. I find these flat pallets a little bit difficult. Let's make it a more runny mix, because I can always add some more 3D flex into it. Oh, lovely. I do love that sort of stringy mix that you get, like I've just kind of made on that last piece. It does become quite hard to stir. The thicker it gets, the harder it gets to actually stir. So that's why I decided just to go for a bit more of a softer mix so that I can whip it up quickly. And if it was going to a thicker mix, eventually I can get my hands in there, but I have to coat it a bit like you would coat chicken fillets. So all right, some lovely more fun texture there, because I just wanted to show you a couple of other ideas. So you could actually get, it's probably a little bit runny still. Just put a bit more 3D flex in, because I just want it to be a bit of a stiffer mix, really. See how I'm kind of lifting and folding? It's a good way of doing it. Okay. So that's definitely got a bit more body to it. And what I've got here is I've got some different sort of textures. Now, I'm just going to get some of these cardboard pieces. Okay, so I can use them to actually mask the 3D flex. So Karen's just saying she found the 3D flex clay takes a long time to dry. How long? I actually find it dries really fast. So I haven't found that it takes long to dry. But try putting, like, maybe it's just been really cold there. I know you're in Victoria, Karen, and in the beautiful Latrobe Valley there. Oh, look at this. So look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scoop some onto here. Don't think you can see that. There we go. So I've loaded this up. So it's kind of like a palette. And then I can actually take that and I can feed it onto my artwork, because what I want to do, and it might be a little bit stringy, but let's see how we go. I want to kind of keep this here. Got my trusty palette knife again. Literally, palette knife. Yes, Ashley, bad joke. That was, you know. So I usually do leave my mixes overnight. I find that way I get the best sort of crackle effect. And you can also put them in front of the heater. And that will, you know, help them dry out a bit more as well. Okay, let's see what we've got under there. So obviously it's still going to be a little bit runny. So I can kind of create little windows, and then I've also got a nice sort of flexy textured piece that I could put somewhere else on the artwork. So let's just stick it on there for now because we can. Actually, I might not, because I'd probably rather see how the textures come up for you so that you can see next week how they actually have ended up. And of course, I will also, my lovely VA has been doing some fantastic work on reels for me. And so you would have noticed some of those coming through. And she will actually do one for this Friday Live. And so I'll give her some photos once this is actually dried so that we can see the effects even before next week if you care to do that. Now, the more I play around with manipulating the 3D flex, essentially what happens is you lose the possibility of it cracking. So I find the more I muck around with it and move it, the less likely it is to actually crack. So if you do want those really gorgeous big cracks, then you want to put the 3D flex on quite thickly. Might not even see where to get this bit of cardboard off, it's buried. Lovely. Loving the texture. I just love this, and you know, like you can play all day long. Play with purpose. So sometimes the purpose might just be, you know, to see what happens. And then once you have actually done a few tests with the actual medium, then you might go, okay, now I know it does that. So I'm going to create like a rocky landscape using, you know, the mixed media techniques that I know work because I've tested them. So it's always good to kind of go, what would happen if I did that? So that one's going off the edge, so that's kind of cool. And look at these lovely little bits of texture I've got now. So I am just going to take a little bit through here. So Karen, this 3D flex that I've mixed up, it's already drying off. Awesome. I'm just smoothing these down a little bit, just by choice. And then I can bring that in so it doesn't feel so separated. All right, fun, fun, fun. Now, while I've got this thick mix, so you've now got some little windows here. So this is fun to do if you have actually collaged some papers. Like for me to actually put something in here now, I might treat it like little swimming pools. So once it's dry, it's actually going to contain the media within that little pooled area that I've created. Just like making a cake. Not that I make cakes, but I do plenty of creating texture and mixed media. All right, so fun and games. I could keep fiddling around with this forever. If I want, I can actually also spray it with some water. This one's not spraying very nicely. And that will actually also assist it to crack. If I end up having like massive cracks everywhere and I'm not really happy with it, then I can actually also, I'm just wetting this edge down so that I can just get a nice edge on here. Noodling around, that's what I'm doing. Noodling around while on air so that you guys can see sort of how I would just play with the medium. Okay, so we'll see what happens. I will keep you in the loop, but essentially what I'm thinking is that these little areas I could actually do like swimming pools of mixed media in there, even maybe put a little bit of poured resin because it's actually going to stay contained within those little areas. So we'll see how it turns out. I can add collage to it. I can add more texture to it. I can, create some areas where it's not going to have much, texture at all. And I'm just smoothing off some of this, and hopefully we will get some good cracks. Super soaked, that one. So anyway, that's totally up to you what you kind of end up doing. Just gonna, because I can distress this edge a bit more. Fun. All right, so I'm going to move that out of the way. I'll show you how that one ends up, and we'll put this one back, which we noodled around with earlier, and it hasn't really done much at all. I'm just going to pop a little bit of water into this because it has dried out quite significantly, and the water is just going to help distress the actual crackle anyway. And it's got plenty of Powertex in there to act as a binder. I was going to put some big crackle on the bottom of this one, so I might still do that through the week so I can show you next week. And of course, next week we're going to look at adding some power wax onto some of these surfaces. So now I've made it very runny. Go for some lovely texture in the foreground here. Okay, crazy. So I'm going to put some more thicker texture onto the bottom, but that's looking quite lovely with the two different textural elements. If I want, I can actually get something like this. And while my 3D Flex is wet, I can put it on there. And I can pull it off. And it's actually going to leave a bit of a texture. But I can also put it on there and actually just let it be fibrous. And then I can paint it with Powertex Transparent later if I want to keep the colour, or I can dry brush, you know, and then dry brush back into it. So I love the way the 3D Flex is squishing through there, so I'm just going to make it squish a bit more, filling in some of that. Pull that string into there and mesh that bit of string that's there. Move this one, put it in here somewhere. Might pull some of these ones out. Pop it into here. The other thing that I can do is I can get some other tools like this, and I can actually, you know, create some textural effects onto some of that 3D Flex. But like I say, the more of that you do, the less it's actually going to crackle in the end. So it depends on what you want. I'm just going to push this down so it sort of partially disappears into that mix. Look at that. I'm loving this. So I really like it to pop through dimensionally. So just carefully push that down so it gets a bit more dimension in there. Lovely. And then, of course, I can put some more on as I please. So I might just chuck another piece over this other side because we can. There we go. A bit of noodling with 3D Flex to create texture, so it'll be interesting to see how this turns out. But you can play to your heart's content, and you know, that's what it's all about, is playing with the medium, experimenting, seeing what you can do, giving yourself permission to play, permission to experiment, and permission to noodle around to your heart's content. So it has been a bit of a long one today, Thank you for joining me. If you do have any questions, please make sure that you do ask them. And I'm always, around post Friday Live, so I can answer them for you, even if you're watching in replay. So if you are watching in replay, thank you for watching, and please still drop me a comment. It's always lovely to see who has watched, and my hope is that this has really inspired you to play with this wonderful product from Powertex Art Supplies, Easy 3D Flex, and noodle around as well. So get noodling and have some playtime this weekend, and make yourself some time to create in our busy life. It's so good for us, so good for our mental health and well-being. So enjoy creating, and of course, if you would like to share anything with us, please do it in the Powertex Australia Creative Hub. It's always wonderful to see what people have done after Friday Live, and it makes it exciting for me to see what people are doing. So make sure you share, and also if you need some products, you can get them within Australia from your local trainer, or from the website powertex.com.au. So enjoy creating, everyone, and I will see you next week for Friday Live, when we will be talking Power Wax, which is fantastic. So you are going to love it, adding it onto your Easy 3D Flex. So let's go. Next week, be ready with some 3D Flex pieces ready to power wax. Have a wonderful creative week, everyone. Bye.